I gave up a lot of stuff, but you know, my main objective was to make the fight happen by any means. Even though, you know, my people wanted to, after a while, they wanted to walk away from the fight, 'cause, you know, out of just all that, you know, outrageous demands, and then when you meet his demands, then he moves the goalposts. Yeah, nah, he's nice as hell, but you know, I'm at the point of my career. The money right, I'll fight anybody, so I ain't tripping.
Errol Spence has taken aim at Terence Crawford, accusing him of ducking their rematch to pursue a high-profile fight against Canelo Alvarez instead. Spence posted a subtle but pointed message on his X, formerly Twitter, account, alleging that Crawford broke their rematch agreement in order to chase the Canelo bout. The news sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Fans had been eagerly anticipating a Crawford vs. Spence rematch, but the announcement of a potential Crawford vs. Canelo superfight in September quickly stole the spotlight. Many believe the fight could be a much-needed boost for boxing, which has been criticized lately for a lack of major matchups and declining excitement. Unfortunately for fans hoping for a rematch, Errol Spence had other thoughts. In his tweet, Spence questioned why Terence Crawford didn't come back to face him again. He shared a clip from their previous press conference, where Crawford had boldly insulted Spence and promised to give him a serious beating. "You talk all that talk, you disappear when it matters most," Spence implied, clearly calling Crawford out for what he sees as a dodge.
You know, he said the Jose Benavidez fight was probably the toughest fight of his career, and I think you said back in the day you had your way with him in sparring. Is there anything to take away from that, or that you take away from it?
Nah, not at all. I mean, it was a good fight. He fought a one-legged Jose Benavidez, and it was the toughest fight of his career. That says a lot.
What does it say?
I mean,
interestingly, after their rematch was cancelled last year, discussions reportedly resumed months later. Terence Crawford even gave interviews saying he was open to a second fight with Errol Spence. At one point, a rematch seemed like a more realistic option than the Canelo Alvarez fight. However, Crawford eventually changed course, choosing to pursue the Canelo bout instead. This decision appears to have sparked Spence's ongoing social media rant. Despite the drama, many boxing fans believe the first Crawford-Spence fight wasn't competitive enough to warrant a rematch. To them, Spence's frustration stems more from missing out on another massive payday than from unfinished business in the ring.
I'm walking over my feet. You know, I want to get out the game. I got kids, got a mom and dad, and you know, they want to enjoy me. So,
fans weren't holding back either. Many believe Errol Spence is chasing the rematch for financial reasons, not because he truly believes he can win. Let's be real, no one in their right mind would want to fight the guy who nearly destroyed them in the ring, one fan wrote. It was a 50-50 fight before, now it's more like 90-10. Some were even more brutal in their trolling, urging Spence to stay away from Terence Crawford unless he's ready for a beating worse than the one he suffered, or even worse than the car crash he survived years ago. For many fans, the idea of Spence returning to face Crawford in his very first fight back is not only unrealistic but also dangerous. The backlash from fans only grew harsher. One commenter mocked Spence, saying, "Bro wants another crash, this time from a punch, and another cataract surgery. This isn't the way to go out. Just take a tune-up fight and bounce back. You've still got it, no doubt. But Crawford? That's not the experiment to run right now." Another fan drew a comparison to Tim Tsayu's recent mistake. Errol's not learning from Tim Tsayu. The guy went through a bloody war with Sebastian Fundora, fought through it with a head injury for 8 rounds, and took his first loss. Instead of recovering, he jumped into another big fight and paid for it. Spence is walking into something even worse. Crawford will destroy him.
Definitely, it was exciting. I whole build up to it and leading up to it too. So it's something that, you know, I wouldn't change for nothing. And I'm definitely open to the rematch, and hopefully it'll be at 154 pounds.
I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. You know, like everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. You know.
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
Right now? No, how?
Yeah, he's right, dude. He's right.
How? You know, he fought in one division. You know,
he never unified the belts.
He unified.
He did unify.
Some fans have even started questioning Errol Spence's management, suggesting it might be time for him to leave Premier Boxing Champions, PBC. One commenter argued that the promotion no longer serves top-tier fighters the way it once did. No wonder all of Spence's proposed fights keep falling apart during contract talks, the fan wrote. Leave PBC, bro. It's not what it used to be. Go link up with someone like Turkey, he'll get you the right fights. And whatever you do, don't go near Crawford. That beast will rip your head off. Another added, Crawford called this fight back when he was lined up to face Madrimov. Maybe he shouldn't have raised Spence's hopes if he had no intention of following through.
He unified.
Was it?
He had 3. Yeah, the
but
WBC,
he didn't unify all 4. He wasn't
IBF.
undisputed.
Huh?
He wasn't undisputed.
He wasn't. No, but what I'm saying is, they already called him a weight bully, right? He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. You know, he beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
While Terence Crawford never explicitly promised Errol Spence a rematch, he did make his priorities clear even back then. Crawford stated that his main focus was on Israel Madrimov, whom he's set to face on August 3rd at the __ Center in Los Angeles. When asked about a potential rematch with Spence, Crawford didn't rule it out but offered no guarantees. The possibility is there, he said. Spence is fighting Sebastian Fundora for his titles, I'm fighting for a title too. If he wins his fight, God willing, and I win mine, God willing, then there's a possibility.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford wanna challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. You know, so you know what I'm saying. I'm with it. So you know, I'll be going for Bud. You know, if he fight Canelo.
With a rematch clause included in their original contract, Crawford acknowledged there was still unfinished business with Spence. However, given how decisively he dominated their first encounter, Crawford would enter any potential rematch as a heavy favorite. The main question surrounding a possible second fight is whether Spence will look like a different fighter at 154 pounds. The weight cut appeared to take a toll on both men, but it was Spence who looked noticeably drained, both at the weigh-in and in the ring on fight night.
You know what I mean? That's a good win. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him or, you know,
I understand
things like that, but I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he didn't got.
Following Crawford's dominant stoppage victory over Spence last year under a deal with PBC, a contractual rematch was expected to take place. However, as months passed, no formal announcement was ever made. According to reporter Mike Coppinger, Spence underwent cataract surgery a few months after the fight, an important development that ultimately led to the rematch clause expiring. With the time limit on the rematch deal passed, Crawford was free to pursue any fight he wanted, with no obligations to a promoter or network. While he had been actively campaigning for a blockbuster bout against Canelo Alvarez, Canelo reportedly wasn't too interested, believing the fight offered little upside for him.
I said I would never want to fight him coming off an accident like that, because when I beat him, then y'all gonna say it was because of the accident. He beat Danny Garcia. I was in the crowd. I said, nah, he can't beat me. That's the first time I seen Spence fight live. I said.
So you knew then when you seen that?
I'm like yeah, because you know it's different on TV than when you watching it up close in person.
Former unified welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. finds himself in a state of boxing limbo. While he hasn't officially announced his retirement, there are no clear plans for a return either. Having already spent nearly 2 years out of the ring, fans are beginning to question whether the Truth will ever compete again. Not long ago, Spence was widely regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, an undefeated champion with knockout power and mainstream appeal. But everything changed when he stepped into the ring with Terence Crawford. Before their long-anticipated showdown, The fight was seen as a true 50-50 clash between two evenly matched elites. Then came the opening bell, and from that moment on, it was all downhill for Spence.
I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off.
Yeah. But no,
He's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and all that, and fought Kovalev and fought the other guy too. So I mean, if he can do it, and he started at 147. So I mean, if he's doing it, why can't Crawford do it?
Terence Crawford delivered a stunning beatdown to Errol Spence in their long-awaited unification bout on Saturday night, becoming the first undisputed welterweight champion in nearly 4 decades. With this victory, Crawford solidified his claim as one of the best fighters in the world. Regardless of weight class, Crawford knocked Spence down once in the 2nd round and twice more in the 7th, before referee Harvey Dock finally stepped in to stop the fight at 2:32 of the 9th round. The sold-out crowd of 19,990 at the T-Mobile Arena showed no signs of protest. They might have welcomed the stoppage even earlier.
Have a fish fry come Saturday. Man, you gotta calm down, brother. Cause listen, man, things can get real sticky real quick, and then everybody would say, this is what we do every time we come out. This is what we do when we come out. Social media.
The matchup between these undefeated American stars, more than 5 years in the making, was billed as the best fight boxing could offer. After an evenly contested opening round, the fight quickly turned into a showcase for Crawford's generational talent. The 35-year-old Nebraskan cemented his place in boxing history with an extraordinary display of power, precision, and ring generalship that made an elite opponent look like a novice. Crawford, a former champion at 135 and 140 pounds, entered the bout as a slight favorite. With his victory on Saturday, Crawford became the first fighter since 1986 to hold all the recognized world titles at welterweight, a feat last achieved when Lloyd Honehan stunned Donald Curry at Caesars Atlantic City to claim the WBA, WBC, and IBF belts in one of British boxing's greatest upsets.
Got the confidence to come out there and just be like, okay, well, even the skills to say, all right, let me see how you gonna take a punch to the chin. Let me see how you gonna take a punch to the body. Let me see how you gonna react when you can't bully somebody around.
Good, I just hit the ball.
Okay. So my mind was, you know what I mean, you know, it was racing a little bit. And I was like, man, how should I come out? And it was like, man, just come out boxing.
Clearly asserting himself as the superior fighter, Crawford dominated Spence in a one-sided beatdown that only ended when the referee mercifully stopped the bout in the 9th round. After the fight, Crawford reigned as the undisputed welterweight champion, though only briefly, before eventually moving up to junior middleweight. At present, it appears Crawford is set to face the one and only Canelo Alvarez in an unusual but highly anticipated super fight. Meanwhile, the affable Texan Spence hasn't stepped into the ring since his crushing defeat to Crawford in 2023. It's been a long wait, and the question boxing fans are now asking isn't when Spence will return, but if he will return at all.
Listen, just like you talking, just like you doing all that talking, bro, it can turn deadly real quick, but on both sides. So why not support, listen, why not support your fighter? Support your fighter.
It's been almost 2 years since Spence last fought. At 35 years old, he's not old by today's standards, but he's no longer a spring chicken either. The truth is, if Spence decides to return, he would still draw plenty of attention and generate significant money. There are several big-name opponents waiting in the wings. Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu immediately come to mind. However, to face those fighters, Spence would first need to officially announce his comeback. He'd also likely take a tune-up fight before jumping back into top-tier competition, which is understandable given the circumstances, and if Spence chooses to retire, he shouldn't be criticized for that decision either.
Along my career, I've been criticized and people have taken credit away from me just to try to diminish my accomplishments just off of pure hate. So what would they be able to say with me going up 2 weight classes?
People say, oh, well, maybe it was the weight or whatever the case is. What do you think about that? Like, talking about the weight at 154?
Well, I wasn't worried about that. I felt stronger than him. You know, I felt that I punched harder than him. I felt as if I hurt him many of times in the fight.
Boxing is a tough sport, both physically demanding and dangerous. Errol Spence took a brutal beating at the hands of Crawford, and his grueling battles against fighters like Kell Brook likely took a toll as well. On top of that, there was the serious car accident that nearly cost him his life. All things considered, Spence has had a challenging and treacherous journey, successful, but far from easy. That said, Spence is still a fighter, and fighters fight. If he's physically ready to return, it would be great to see him back in the ring.
Yeah, but I just felt like, he came prepared and he was ready and he fought a good fight.
Yeah.
He was awkward, he was patient, he was determined, he stuck to his game plan, and he did what he had to do to make it to the last battle.
Errol Spence recently opened up on social media, revealing that the worst thing he's done as an athlete was drinking. In his post, Spence shared some hard-earned advice: if you're an athlete, focus on the end goal. Hopefully, it's a better situation for you and your loved ones. Spence's message also caught the attention of Gervonta Davis, who is set to fight Lamont Roach tonight. Aside from his defeat to Crawford, Spence has had a stellar career. However, his last performance led to a surge in critics, with some fans suggesting he's lost his edge. This criticism didn't sit well with Spence, who fired back on X, formerly Twitter. Some of y'all throw around washed way too loosely. Ask your mama what washed really means.
A lot of people say, oh, well, he's money hungry, he's looking at money and he's trying to cash out and this and that. I've been getting money for years. I've been getting millions for years.
Yeah.
And I'm not stupid with my money.
Right.
As you can see, I don't buy no Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and walk around with 100 people around me and I got all this jewelry that I bought. Like, I don't do all that.
Errol Spence was the unified welterweight champion prior to his loss to Terence Crawford, holding the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles from 2017 to 2023. Although Spence hasn't fought in nearly 2 years, he is still only 34 years old, and fans expect him to face a big-name opponent when he returns. Meanwhile, two-weight undisputed champion Terence Crawford has recently stirred controversy with comments about his former rival, Spence. The two fought in 2023, about where Crawford delivered a dominant and one-sided victory. Since then, Spence has yet to make a comeback. Although Spence had the option to invoke a rematch clause against Crawford, he ultimately chose not to pursue it.
He got caught with it. Boxing a bit more, but things happen. You gotta learn from it.
More recently, Spence was in talks for a fight against WBC and WBO super welterweight champion Sebastian Fundora, but after several delays, the bout never materialized. This fueled speculation that Spence might never return to the ring. Meanwhile, Crawford has continued to rise, now scheduled to face Canelo Alvarez in September later this year. "I could retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame," Crawford said during a recent podcast. "But like everything I've accomplished, I'm still striving for more."
Setting traps, has crazy power that he believes in. He has a great chin too, because he's a guy, he'll let you get out punches.
Later elaborating on his point, Crawford said, he fought in one division, unified 3 belts, and they already called him a weight bully. He beat Kell Brook coming off an eye injury loss. Crawford also acknowledged Spence's win over Sean Porter but felt it wasn't enough. "That's a good win. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him or anything, but honestly, I don't know if he'll make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades he has right now." While there's some truth to Crawford's opinion, many fans and experts have disagreed. Boxing trainer Kevin Cunningham responded to Crawford's comments, writing, "In my opinion, Errol Spence has done enough to eventually get into the Hall of Fame. He's an Olympian, held 3 world titles at welterweight, and was a top 4-pound fighter." This sentiment was echoed by Erickson Lubin as well.
Hold his head up, it's a learning experience. He just bounced back from it. It's about how you come back and how you show people that, that it happened young in your career, and some of you.
While Terence Crawford's popularity has soared since his win over Spence, he already boasts one of the most decorated resumes in boxing history. He has won titles in 4 different weight classes and holds undisputed championships in 2 divisions. Throughout his career, many have doubted his ability to beat top opponents at various stages, but Crawford has consistently proven them wrong. However, Erickson Lubin isn't convinced Crawford's accomplishments are as impressive as they seem. No disrespect, but I don't think Crawford really fought anyone either, Lubin wrote in response to Crawford's comments about Spence's Hall of Fame chances. Moving up weight classes and stopping 11 by the 12th round is what we should credit him for. That said, Crawford remains at the center of controversy for now. For the very best updates on boxing news, moments, and events, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to catch all our quality content. Until next time, peace.